Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Dee Dee, and here's her story. Hey Ollie, I always binge play your videos and listen to your insight on narc parental abuse. It has really helped me on my journey of healing and recovery. Just recently, I was replaying a video that really piqued my interest. The narcissist family will never change for Black Cinderella. In the story, it talks about a black woman who experienced abuse by her family and how many people in her family labeled her as crazy, and how the women in the women in the young lady's family were petty and loved competition. You go on to say there is that one domineering matriarch that acts as the ruling queen that needs her children to act as peasants and jesters for her sick entertainment and narc supply. I related to this young woman's story because, like her, I am also in the same boat and am also black. And I come from the traditional black narc household. Daddy wasn't in the picture, and strangely enough, mother took out on me the anger and frustration that she had from my father. Her story cracked open a spectrum of emotions, and your insight brought clarity to me. I also have realized that this type of abuse goes on in black communities more than often, and it also gets swept under the rug. It's like in the black community, abuse is praised and thought of as a badge of honor to walk around with an extension cord on your back like how you are a slave from the old days. And it's always the women that you have to fear. It's always these quote-unquote queens. And the mothers brag, and they brag about it, how their kids flinch from them and how they're afraid of them. And, you know, they call them the little N-word. This little N-word this and this little N-word that. Like, whoa. There's a pride that these black women, that these black mothers like this take in the abuse. And it's a pride that they're allowed to have. It's out there in the open, in the community, and accepted. It's a badge of honor. My mother, also a black woman, would praise my grandmother. She would always say in black woman voice, "Child, you gonna always need your mama, and thank the Lord for all the extension cord marks and water hose marks that my mama put on me. One thing, Chili, is that you need to honor your mama so your days be long on this earth." Growing up, I thought it was an honorable thing to get beaten with every inch of my body with extension cords and slapped down in front of the whole neighborhood. While people wouldn't stop the abuse, they would point and cheer smugly. And that's what happened. They cheer it on. They cheer on the violence and they cheer on the abuse. But Black Lives Matter. They spend a lifetime destroying each other and cheering it on. Over the years, I got older and I started to sink into a dark hell of realization. It wasn't until I went no contact that I finally seen the light at the end of the tunnel. And wasn't until God delivered me from that demon that I seen how really twisted my black narc mother was, and sadly still is. The abuse in black culture is swept under the rug as being the best Big Mama could do. That's all Big Mama knew, and even though she beat you and sent you to school with welts on your back, she loves you. You didn't believe that. No human believes that. No child is taken, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter. No child, no human takes a beating and believes it's out of love. Nobody believes that. You don't believe it, and your mother sure as shit didn't believe it. None of them believe it. Because if we don't believe it, why would they believe it? They didn't. They just made the choice to carry on the abuse. And here's the problem in the black community, is that black people are afraid to stand up to each other. Like, their problem isn't with white people and isn't with certain types, with liberal white people, yeah. But this stuff, the violence, why these things persist, is because black people are afraid to call out other black people. That's why. And it's then cheered on. They're cheering it on. And all the while, they all know as they're cheering it on, and it shouldn't be cheering this on. But I'm not. What happens if you're the one in the black community that goes against the crowd? And like, no. Oh, whoa. What's your problem? You a sellout? You acting white? That's how it goes. And I'm not exaggerating. And my other black followers will agree, and I'm sure Dee Dee will agree. This is a big part of why it goes on. No child takes a beating from their parents and believes it's out of love. No child. Especially the ones who were raised like us. Because you can feel the joy with every hit. You can feel the enjoyment, the pleasure they're getting out of it, and the satisfaction. Please. She loves you. Growing up, I was always targeted. I was always scapegoated. My mother would refer to me to outsiders as her problem child, or tell my sister, Chili, your sister got mental issues. Kind of funny, I mean, how can an 8-year-old have mental issues? My first beating with an extension cord happened when I was 6 years old. It was over a strawberry slushie that no one wanted to own up to drinking out of. Typically black household, everyone has a different fathers, so no one knows their father. No one has experienced the love of a true father. There were 4 of us, including me. I was the only one forced to clean, constantly vacuuming, dusting, mopping, scrubbing baseboards. She would come in my room in the middle of the night, extension cord in hand, and inspect the kitchen. And any ounce of dirt or dish that wasn't dried properly would result in a narc rage and a beating similar to when Kunta Kinte said his name wasn't Toby. Growing up in this toxic environment, I remember getting slapped down for trivial matters, made to strip down and get beat with extension cords, hit with belt buckles in my head. My mother would also catch us in the bathtub and beat us naked. All the while, it seemed like she wanted to break us down. But I felt as I got the worst end of the stick, being, as she always told me, I was just like my father. They love to strip you down. It's this humiliation. It is just such a brutality. I've said this in other videos. The source of the violence in the black community is the black mother. I mean, this is the source. This is like the brutality that has been read out on this channel by and large has been, though the worst of it, like this, it's always the same. Not to say there aren't other brutal stories, of course there are, but consistently brutal like this is coming from this situation. The black mother destroying her own children and her being rooted on to do it within the community because nobody's afraid, because nobody has the courage to stand up to it because you know what happens. That mob attack, that gang stalking. The reason I'm writing this is because this past Mother's Day was my first Mother's Day, but I have been no contact for going on 3 years. My narc family had heard through the grapevine I was with child, but I never contacted them on my pregnancy journey, despite many attempts of them trying to hoover me in. My flying monkey sister would always call me during the time I was pregnant, and my abusive narc alcoholic mother only called me twice the whole time I was pregnant. I have since had my baby, and they haven't met my child, nor will I let them be around my child. That's the whole narc family. I'm not in contact with any of them. My narc mother has had my aunt, who is another narc, call my husband's phone and leave messages letting him know she is calling to check on me. Yeah, you need to nip that in the fucking bud. Your husband needs to step up and say, this is my wife. She wants nothing to do with you. And based on what I've heard about how she was raised, I want you nowhere near my child. But this past Mother's Day, my little golden child sister texted me. I call her the golden child because my mother puts her on a pedestal. She never did beat her, and she gave her anything she wanted. If I did wrong by the golden child, I can even recall getting beat because of her. She texted me, came up as an unlisted number, and told me that she misses me and how badly her heart aches, and that she wishes she could sit and talk with me, and how she wanted me to enjoy my first Mother's Day. I immediately changed my number, and I never changed it prior to going no contact. I just always blocked whoever came up. Ollie, I recall years before no contact, I told my flying monkey sister that she didn't know me, and she kept insisting with a glazed over look in her eye that she did know me, and she believed God gave her a family, so she has to stick by them, and that abuse makes us stronger. I guess what I'm trying to clarify, Ollie, is why do they keep trying to reach out to me post no contact once they started reaching out to me once they found out I was with child and I have a baby? Because they want their hands on your child. Okay, that's what the queen does. The queen keeps absorbing the young. Okay, that's what the black narcissistic queen mother does, is she keeps absorbing the young of her young, and that's what she keeps doing. And the more she can control you through your child. That's what they do. And the other worker bees, because what you got here, it's a queen bee situation. You got the queen bee, your mother, and your sisters are her little worker bees. And the little worker bees are out there recruiting more and more bees. And any bees that try to get away, you have to be wrangled back in. I don't know how they know. They know. They have a sixth sense about it. But they know. And they know you're vulnerable right after childbirth. They know how hard it is to raise an infant. And this is where they see it as a weakness. First Mother's Day, it's emotional. You're without family. All they're trying to do is absorb your young. That's what the queen bee does. Why does the problem child get no validation from the other siblings on the abuse that has occurred? Because they're flying monkeys. They're worker bees. Everybody has a role. That's what you're not understanding. You're not understanding your quote-unquote role in all this. Why does the flying monkeys in Golden Child act like nothing happened? Because they want you to believe nothing happened, because they're trying to reel you back in. They're trying to consume your young. They're trying to get access to your child, to turn your child against you. I feel like Big Mama is like a witch in the Wizard of Oz telling the flying monkeys to come get me and bring me to her, right? Like worker bees. I feel like she wants to dominate and control my family, the new family that God has given me. Yeah, that's what I just explained to you. Exactly. Exactly. She consumes your young. She keeps consuming your young. That's her point. That's what happens. And that's why it's so pervasive in the black community, because it's generations. Like the stories I've read, it's generations of black women in a family fighting out on the street. Generations of this shit. So in order to pull that off, you have to keep consuming the young of your young. You have to keep bringing them in. Why do these family systems go out of their way to rope the scapegoat back in? Do they really think the scapegoat is just over-exaggerating, or do they believe that no abuse occurred? It's all part of the game. They know the abuse occurred. My flying monkey sister told me that Big Mama only treated us this way so we can know how to act when someone else treated us like this. Yeah, that's just excuses of the flying monkey and then the enabler. That, I say, that's utter bullshit. Big Mama knew, and I was the only one who rebelled because I couldn't function in that toxic ghetto environment. So that's why I was labeled crazy problem child, the one with issues. Right. Devil's in you. Devil's in that one, because you're the one pushing back. You're the one that's going to expose it, and you're the one they got to reel back in. Understand now. Your child now is the lost ark, is the golden jewel, is the crown jewel they have to get now. Now they have to get it. So now more than ever, your husband and you have to be vigilant. Change everything. Let them nowhere near you or your child. Because they want to consume that. They want to bring it in so they can have another generation of a fucked up black family. Of this fucking nonsense running. I believe that Big Mama wants to find some type of way to steal my child from me and cause him to turn against me, like she did with my siblings and the whole family. Yeah, that's what I've been telling you the whole time. And the neighborhood included. What are your thoughts? Also, I will be posting more stories. Thanks for the work you do. May God bless you and the resistance community and everyone else on this healing journey. Peace, Dee Dee. Yeah. The queen bee keeps consuming your young. That's what happens. That's what happens. That's why it's so pervasive in the black community. That's why so many black women have so many issues with their mothers. Because black people are afraid to stand up to other black people. Even as they're cheering it on, they know it's fucked up, but they don't want to be the one to catch that queen bee's wrath. And the problem is every black family has a queen bee. And then the queen bees like to watch the little worker bees brawl it out on the street. So they need as many of the young as possible to carry on that legacy. And that's your answer, Dee Dee. So I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I really appreciate it. I can't use the pic in the one you sent me because it will get demonetized immediately. So I appreciate it. I do appreciate your story. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any comments or advice in the comment section below. And if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.